Hello and welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita'S Paradox. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you and your time and finding me here on this thing called YouTube. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are an OG original supporter who has always been here ready and willing to start your week 4 of the fitness challenge, today is your day. So, new people, I do apologize, but today is the day that I actually need to announce our next phase of our challenge. So you're going to notice that this video is all about that. If, for chance, you are not interested in hearing about that and you'd like to go back and check out my last couple of videos, feel free to exit right now. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and go forth and talking about what we have to look forward to in week 4. So, no question of the day today, but we are going to discuss just some questions that I keep getting, and I want to make sure that I'm addressing them as a whole because I want to make sure we're doing what we need to do. This is go time. We're super excited about this time of the year. It's hot everywhere. Everyone's ready to get butt ass naked, and that is what we're about to do. So, with that being said, week 4. Here are our Q&As for this week. First question that I'm getting a lot is this something that you could do long term? Meaning, is this just kind of a quick fix? I hope by now you guys are paying attention that it's really a lifestyle type of a change. I'm not ever really going to give you anything structured in the manner of you need to do, 6 specific sets of something or just, I'm not. Simply because everyone's body is different, and unless we're doing something personal and I've actually gotten your labs and understand like who you are as an individual, I'm going to always speak to you from a general consensus. But I'm hoping that you're taking the time to really pay attention to what your body's vices are, like what it's responding to, what's good, what's bad, what you might be allergic to, what's giving you an ill result that you're not really looking for, to make sure that you can make this absolutely a long-term lifestyle experience. You want to know that as we get older, it's always going to be about simple things: hydration, movement, right? And mindset. And if we can keep all of those things intact, you can pretty well sustain a very healthy life. You want to know that in order to do those things, it's really just a matter of continuously paying attention. Even if you go to the doctor, there's no way for the doctor to describe or prescribe anything to you in regards to what's going on in your life unless you're telling them what's happening. So they're not preventative. And because they're not preventative, I'm hoping to make you as preventative as possible. So absolutely understand that you can always do a derivative of what I'm showing you as far as movements or what I'm showing you as far as food, and you would adapt it as you see fit as you go along. Our current person who is losing or who has lost the most weight up until this point is a member named Rita. Super excited for you, Rita. I wanted to send you a shout out. She's 22.6 pounds in. She's lost an overall count of, I think it was 13.2 inches. Let me know in the comments, Rita, if I'm wrong. But super excited for her because that is fantastic. Your girl, I'm 13.5 pounds down, feeling absolutely fantastic. I know that I'm feeling good because my cravings are getting different. You always feeling your oats when you feeling like you can actually start to get ready to put your little bikini on and do some things. And I am absolutely about showing all of this 48.5-year-old body at this phase, because I've waited forever to do it, and this is just the time. So when I say that you can't tell me absolutely nothing, I just told my husband like 2 days ago, like, sir, you really might want to stay as close as possible to me because the ego is like out of control. I'm just telling you from a me place. But anyway, so you want to make sure that you're understanding that, yes, it can be a lifestyle. In regards to form is everything, people. Form is everything. Like, do not let the smooth taste fool you. Do not believe that you can just get on TikTok and, all of these little Instagrams and YouTubes and just pick up any sense of video because you can pick up the video. Do understand that they're giving you the moves and that is what they're supposed to do, but the form is everything. And even though you're looking at it, you might not be doing it the way that they perceive you to do it. So always be conscious of trying to find someone that can check your form, or again, contacting me back, sending me a video and asking me for a critique and really giving me like a proper video from all angles of the moves you're doing. But you need somebody to professionally assess it. It would equate to, you can get anybody to paint, but if it's not a painter, you can see the streaks. You can see, the imperfections that you don't want to see when it comes to painting or anything. But I use paint because that's a very good visual, if you can imagine. You want to find a professional, and you want to find a true professional, not someone who's just basically helped themselves lose weight and don't understand the science, because this is really a science. It's very disrespected at this phase, because everybody and their mama says that they can teach you how to lose weight because, they got a waist trainer or some gel to put on your stomach, or, some type of a get rich quick scheme of like how you can do it in 5 days, although it's taken centuries of people, hundreds and hundreds of hours to do it. Understand that is not really a professional. So it's something that I'm always going to be offended by, because it's not really something that you should just get up and go and do. But it's like anything. Anyone feels like they get a little bit of knowledge and they run with it. So be it. But form, if your form is off, you're simply going to build muscle improperly, and you're going to build it in a way that it's actually going to mess up things like your mobility later. We'll get to that. But with that being said, it does not give you the look nor the desired long-term effect that you would want. Therefore, you really want to make sure that you're doing it properly, which is why, moving to the next point, you do not want to have a lot of external weight. You don't want to have a lot of external weight because of the simple fact you're heavy by yourself. So if you could constitute, I thought I heard something. So if you can constitute the idea that if a push-up is complicated for you, meaning just lifting yourself up with your legs straight and doing that for a few reps is complicated, then you really should rethink the idea of needing external weight. This is even for a guy. I've had many a man walk up to me and, 3-4 times my size, still saying to me like, girl, what do you mean? Like, I can only lift a 5-pound weight or an 8-pound weight. And then once they actually went through the assessment, they were floored that they weren't able to do what they thought they were able to do. And it has nothing to do with strength. It just comes from the balance and the equilibrium of understanding what your body is doing and how to distribute your weight in order for you to actually gauge it. So I almost never, if you notice, week 1 had absolutely no external weight. That was why. Because to actually do a proper squat is work, period. Like 60% of your body weight is from your waist to your feet. So if you can actually do a proper squat, you're lifting a lot of weight. Therefore, it doesn't really require you to add any external weight until you're ready to add external weight. So I'm just going to tell you that as a professional, and I'm going to stand on it because I have the track record to do it. Okay, so with that being said, I'm telling you that if you're listening to me, because it's also a preference for you on who you decide to listen to as an authority. And if I'm an authority for you, then understand that that is not something that we do over here. We make sure that our form is perfect so that when you lift weight, you can lift. My bench would blow most people's minds. My squat PR would blow most people's minds, not because of any other idea than the fact that my form is perfect. So when you see people who look like they can't lift 3, 4, 5 times their body weight, that's how they're able to do it, because they're actually using all the proper muscles and they've learned how to do what they're doing with proper form. So that's why it's so important. Outside of that, I just kind of halfway touched on it when I was talking about mobility. And I'm going to say that mobility is something that most of us do not understand deteriorates regardless. It equates to your metabolism. We hear a lot about people talking about how hard it is to lose weight as you get older. And that's absolutely true. It has a lot to do with just the fact you're eating different and you're moving different. So your metabolism does different things. Outside of the fact that life stresses as a whole can take you out, and you're not in the space of understanding that cortisol disbursement through your body messes with everything else in your mind and your body's recovery and activity levels. Therefore, you want to be conscious. So when we're talking about mobility, we really want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to stay as limber and loose as possible. Joints hurting, back hurting, knees hurting, arms hurting, all come from the lack of mobility and the lack of stretching. Most people feel like when they're stretching, they're not working out. And that's how I know you're not really stretching properly. Because if you're stretching properly, you're exhausted. You don't even feel as if you need to work out sometimes if you've done the stretching properly, because it's really that exhausting. So in order to achieve everything, it's really the idea of the breath, right? And I should have started with that, but Because I didn't, let me go back and say, in order for you to be able to do anything you need to do to achieve what I'm saying, it really comes from your breath. And here's the comical part of that. Your breath comes from your mind. It comes from your ability to control your stressing. It comes from your ability to allow what the decompression is in your body, as well as allow the adversity of the pain of whatever you're trying to do, right? So if you notice that when things get hard in life, and definitely in the gym, we want to stop, or we don't really want to push past whatever that point is. That's what the breath allows you to do in life and in fitness. It allows you to push past the point of pain in order to actually see the results you want. It sounds kind of comical, but I've always used it as a spiritual metaphoric place of like, I need to sit in it, right? And if I'm sitting in it long enough, I'm going to grow stronger in whatever I need to do. Therefore, I'm going to achieve the goal. How many times have you been trying to do a move, and in the middle of doing the move, you literally feel a pain and you just go like, oh, I can't do it anymore. At that stage is when you're actually now activating the muscle. It's why we do what's called reps, right? So we have sets, which is how many times you do it. And then there's reps on how many times within the times that you do it, right? So if it's 6 sets of 10, then you'd understand that I'm telling you 10 and I'm telling you to do it 6 times because I want you to feel the burn 6 times, but I also want you to only have a little bit of rest in between that long set of reps. In the exact same scenario, if I'm telling you to do something in high intensity, I want you to do it very quickly and very steady, but still in a place of kind of almost like feeling like you're gnawing down on it, right? So one is very long and hold type movements, and the other is very quick, short, pulsing type scenarios. They both work, but they work differently. To try to explain it in this video would take forever. But look at it from the angle of the body needs both. And in order to be able to achieve and differentiate between the two, you have to really understand your breath. And in understanding your breath, you have to allow yourself to feel the pain, to push past the pain, but you have to find the breath in order to find where your pain threshold is. Otherwise, you're just all over the place. So, in saying that and going back to mobility, it's why it's important for you to have the flexibility that you need in order to activate the muscles, because if they're tight, you're going to feel fatigue faster and you won't be able to actually get over the hump, which is why so many people plateau. They typically think that they're plateauing because, they've either need to increase their weight or they need to do something different externally. Typically, it's the breath. It is the breath. It is the funniest thing to think about. But I promise you, if your breath is off and I fix your breath, I could send you back to do the exact same move with the exact same weight and you'd feel it completely different because the activation is different. So that's why I yell at you all the time on your Google Chats to tell you breathe and make sure you're breathing properly and make sure you understand that breathing with the exercise that you're doing is key. If you work in your chest, you want to breathe with that opposing muscle. If you are working your back, you want to also do that. You want to be conscious. I can do the exact same move. If I'm swinging my arms, it just depends on where I activate the breath, the exhale, to determine which part of my body I'm working, my chest or my back. If you notice, the moves are absolutely the same, but the way you breathe is what makes it different. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure that you're stretching. Make sure that you're stretching before and after your workouts. Before and after. And please don't make it like a 2-second snatch on something, pulling and yanking on it. Control your breath even in that. Control your breath. Make sure that you are taking deep breaths. Make sure that you are exhaling all the way through where you feel like your lungs are empty and your belly button is completely being pulled to the spine. So be deliberate. Be deliberate, be deliberate, be deliberate. I'm continuously speaking this intentional scenario. You have to be intentional. You have to understand that you must do what you need to do in order to get to your goals, but you have to figure out what that goal is, and then you have to keep that goal in mind every time you're doing some work. So make sure that you're doing everything with that. You have to recover, right? Last and not least, you have to recover. So if you are a person who works out every single day of the week and you think that that is going to be effective, it is not, especially if you're not stretching, especially if you don't understand that you have to sequence your body out in a way that if you're going to do that, that it actually makes sense. So prime example, when I taught classes and personal train, they're two different aspects, right? One is me really demonstrating a move and getting a burn because I'm demonstrating the move, but a lot of that is just me walking around keeping you motivated and hyping you up. So there's a lot of metabolistic burn in that, but it's also a lot of kind of like little rest periods. Personal training is different because I'm doing absolutely nothing typically. I'm verbalizing what I want you to do. I'm critiquing you by positioning you in a way that I need you to be, and I'm also in your head. So I'm able to give you that one-on-one time. In doing those things and still trying to find a space for me personally to work out was like absolutely like overwhelming because I can't work out on either level. I personally am not working out when I'm personal training, and I'm personally not working out when I'm teaching classes because my threshold is going to be completely different from what the classes is, right? So you have to understand that even in that, when I was teaching 7 days a week and I did it for 7.5 years straight, right? There's absolutely no way that I still didn't have to go and work myself out. And people will be like, oh my God, that makes no sense. I mean, like, why wouldn't you get a workout? You're in the class all day. Well, that's not my workout. That's the crazy part. It's not my workout at all. So that was just great for a cardio burn, and it just gave me an opportunity to have more carbs if I wanted because I knew that I was actually getting all of that cardio in. But it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. It actually made me really, really, really thin, and it actually put me in a place where I look like a little boy. Not quite as attractive as I wanted it to be. So I give you that because I'm still trying to explain in my own way. Like, you have to find your own niche. And that 7 days a week was not my niche. So I didn't work myself out. All those days, I really picked and choose when I was going to actually work myself out. And I would say even in that 7 day stint, I may have worked myself out 4 days specifically because everything else just required so much of my time. And I was able to sustain that look, even though that's not, of course, the look I'm trying to go for right now, that little boy thing I told you about. But I was able to sustain what I thought I wanted at that time, right? So now because I understand that I'm not teaching and I kind of don't personal train as often as I used to because I'm doing something different in fitness, now I really have to gauge what I'm doing, and I really have to map out specifics on when it's resistance, when it's cardio, what type of cardio, if I'm inside, if I'm outside, and when I'm recovering and when I'm going to stretch, right? Because I also like to take things like Pilates and yoga specifically outside of just stretching. And I started, this thing called hiking, which is comical because I've never been an outside kind of a girl, but I'm enjoying it after this COVID experience, hanging out with some friends, and actually then going to brunch and having a girls' day after, or a guys' day, because they come out too. So with that being said, it's kind of fun, if you really can take all of the work out of it, right? I try not to give you anything that requires for you to work because work is not going to work. And people go like, what do you mean you don't want me to work? I want you to work because it's your body and I want you to reach your goal, but I don't want you to feel like it's work. I want you to enjoy the activities as well as you enjoy the results, because if you do, then I know you're going to do what I need you to do. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this has answered most of the questions that you guys were thinking about. Some have kind of collaborated together, and hopefully it's given you an idea of what you can do. This is week 4. We are absolutely understanding that it's not week 4 as in week 4. It's week 4 as in the 4th workout set. We're going to keep it going for our standard 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks again. Make sure that you're checking in. Make sure that you're giving me all the info that I need. If you have any more questions, hit me in the Google chat, comment below, do all those other great things. But I need you to make sure that you're staying on the grind, because this is the time where things get really complicated in regards to your time and just life itself. So do your best. I wish you the best. We're grinding till we finish. Our new challenge will be starting in September. So if you are listening, but you didn't really get the opportunity to join in on this last challenge, the new challenge where I'll be accepting new people will be in September. But I have over 300 people right now. Yeah, and a little overwhelmed. Okay, so hopefully by then I'll have some assistance, and even if people continue on, I'll be able to take on the additional load. But I want to make sure that I can get to you all, because as you know, I have a hard time jumping right back in to communicate quickly because it's so many of you all. So I'm doing my best. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you and all of your time and effort and energy. If you have been with me all of this time, even if you're not a part of the fitness challenge right now, please, please, please like, share, and comment. Hit the notification button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go back and check all the other videos out. And also follow me on all of my handles across all of my channel handles, being Living Percita. I'm putting it up on the screen right now, across the board, from TikTok through Instagram. I had a Percita'S paradox. The problem was that I was having a hard time on really differentiating how to say what I wanted to say on Percita'S paradox and Living Percita. I still have them both. I don't seem to get around to posting as much on Percita'S paradox, but just for the sake of life, please feel free to follow me on that in regards to Instagram. But other than that, Living Percita is just kind of where all the fun happens. And it's where I get to go and be cute. I mean, like right now, I'm trying to be cute, girl, but I'm like barefaced and all. But I give it to you on Instagram if you want to see like what I look like all cleaned up and cute and stuff. Definitely follow me there. But thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. Before you can do any of those things, I need you to do 3 things. And they are live life authentic. Make sure that you are doing that no matter what. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.